every single life matters.
The primary responsibility of government, first of all, which is security.
We bank mostly on intervention rather than prevention.
Democracy is a government where power resides with the people.
This is U.Gov, and this week on the show, we are going to be looking at the security situation in Nigeria resulting from the migration of the group called the Amajiris from the north to the southeast and to some other parts of Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians, analysts, political analysts, social affairs analysts, they've been talking, they've been raising concerns, and of course, security experts themselves have been talking about the implications of having people moving from one state to the other in large numbers, especially during the lockdown. And this week we are joined by security expert Okhidievbie, who will be sharing his wealth of knowledge in this regard.
Before I commence, I would like to clear two things. One, my mother is Fulani, so it won't seem as if maybe this person is coming against a certain set of people. And the second thing is that there are criminal elements in every tribe. There are criminal elements in every religion. So, firstly, the Almajiri system, it's like where people release their children to go and learn under an Afa or an Islamic school where they can learn and study the Quran and understand everything and become a better person, especially religious-wise in Islam. So definitely that was abused because a lot of people just started churning out children and sending them. And it began to expand to other states in the north. And you will see a lot of children from Sokoto origin, they migrate to Kano State as Almajiri. Almajiri became a status, and they began to beg. Initially, each of the Islamic schools gets its benevolence from high-profile Muslims, government, to take care of the children, to make sure they came to learn. But gradually, when criminal elements got in there and neglect for the system, they began to beg. They go out to beg. And you will know that when they beg like that, they must bring the returns back. So who sends them out to beg, or who permits them to go and beg, and who gets back and collates the proceeds from the begging? So those are areas that started all of this junk of Almajiri system, making it an abuse system that has become a security threat in the society. So if your question is saying if their migration from one state to the other is a security threat, my answer will be yes. It's a security threat because in Nigeria today, we have data paucity. We have not been able to collate. We have not been able to establish lines of data. We have not been able to share data. And we don't have a data uniform system where an hospital will be able to know where you live, what you do, when last you took your drugs, when last you traveled, where you travel to, where you do your kind of exercises. No, an hospital supposed to use that to rejig your health system. So we don't have that. So if we don't have that, and we permit people that have not been endorsed to belong to a particular ethnicity, to belong to a particular religion, to belong to a particular family tree, then we are creating anarchy. Anarchy in the sense that if I am invisible, I will agree to do any kind of criminal activity. If I am invisible, I will be used to perpetrate criminal activities because I won't be able to be traced. I cannot be known. I don't have any fixed address. I don't have any fixed tribe. Some people will say they are Fulani headsmen. Some people will tell you they are Almajiris. Some will tell you they are from Sudan. Some will tell you they are from Chad. So we need to understand that it is a criminal risk situation, and it is an exposure for the country. I look at that question from also two directions. Number one is that we need to separate the Almajiri from the adult northern citizens. The Almajiri are vulnerable quotient of our society. They are vulnerable. They are kids. You know, they are supposed to not have their say yet. They are supposed to be under tutelage, under grooming. So they are supposed to be under an institution, under either family or the Islamic school they belong to, supposed to have a name. They're supposed to have an ID that they belong to XYZ Islamic school if we are going to have a structure, okay? So we need to separate them from the adult northerners that also migrate, okay? So generally, the adult migrants from one part of the country to the other, especially from the north, has had a stigma. And that stigma is that Fulani headsmen, armed banditry, have incurred into farms, into villages, both in the east and in the north. Even in Kaduna, is thriving seriously. In Niger State, it just happened recently. Kaduna is rife for this kind of thing, where people just run into a town and start killing people. You know, and if we claim that it is for vendetta, then if you were wronged, you should have reported it. If we claim that it is for reprisal, then when the crime was committed to you, you should have reported it. Then if we claim that it is for religious reasons, the Kaduna state itself is being governed by a Muslim. And most of the powers in Kaduna state are under Muslim heads. And Kaduna is in catchment north. So how do we trace this when it's happening in the north? That is the skepticism that people in the south, the east, they have. When they see bundles of people in trailer loads sneaking into the east, into the west, when you can do that in the north. So if we also look at the Almajiri quotient and tie security vulnerability to it, you will agree with me that the Boko Haram system has generated a strategy where they use children, young girls, to carry plastic explosive, IEDs, and detonate in crowded places, and detonate in security agencies' hold-ups like barracks, police stations, you know, checking points, you know. And if we have this category of people coming together, the adults whom we have seen to be violent to themselves, not to talk of outsiders from their tribe and their religion, then the quotient of the children whom can be used because they are training them to study Islam. And the wrong ideology Boko Haram has sold and have gotten it all those armies it has is that Islam is not to support Western education. And Islam is to kill and get 7 virgins as your reward when you get to the other side of life. So this is what these children might be loaded with. I use the word might, if they have been given the wrong ideology. So bringing these kids down here and the adults that sneak in here, you have a tie of a leader weapon. So it's a threat. There's no way we can take that away.
You're welcome back. This is still you.gov, and this week we are taking a look at security concerns arising in Nigeria, especially with the movement of the Almajiris from the northern part of Nigeria to the southeast. The governors over there have been complaining that they are not feeling safe with situations like people coming out from food trucks and things like that. And of course, we've been talking with Roy Okhidievbie, a security expert who has been giving his opinion on this issue. And he'll be talking about how the security structure of Nigeria seems to be weakened by the pandemic and what should be done. Of course, recommendations will be coming from him. Take a listen.
You know, all my life, I've been able to understand that when God gives you inspiration, when God gives you a vision, it is actually to protect you, to prepare you, and to project you into a crisis situation, a challenge that is coming before you. So, over time, I have been sensitive to understand that once there is a vision before me and I foresee a challenge, I quickly take charge. And I take charge and I hit the ground running. Let me give you an example. It was a matter for us to get ourselves NIMSI, National Identity Management, and everybody was supposed to have a NIMSI card, a national ID. Everybody. And outlets were generated. It became online. It became a matter. If you don't have it, you can't run your accounts. You can't have a BVN. If you don't have it, you can't do XYZ. If the state governors have taken it seriously, if the local governments, the councils have taken it seriously, don't you think a larger majority of Nigerians now would have been captured to have a national ID? We should. Later, we were led by the vision to also strengthen our policing. A lot of people came out. So many security experts started talking about policing system, policing structure. We removed the force from the police and made it the Nigerian police. We started to review the processes. We got a new IG. People came up with Amotekun. Just recently, people came up with Amotekun, some 5, 6 or so governors. People came up with different kinds of security for their region. The North came up that they want to have theirs. They got a name to make it juicy, make it attractive. It was a fanfare. We should have known that the Spirit of God was preparing us towards a pandemic where we could hold ground and protect lives and property. You see? And also, if you get things right, you will see that there was this desire to lock the borders. Nigeria took the step to lock our borders, the land borders, and we started to look at homegrown initiatives, homegrown security system, homegrown wear and tear for demand and supply, business reviews. And we didn't understand that we were being prepared for a pandemic. So I will tell you that we were not prepared because we didn't take into cognizance those heads up that we were giving. So we are met in a shabby situation and started to run helter-skelter to put things together. That is why you see it is now we are talking to security agencies not to be brutal. It's now we are talking to so many people to conform to government policy. And that is the dilemma we find ourselves. Yes, I believe that we can get it right. You see, so many of us have been talking about the proper system of security, you know, and putting people under data capture is so key in security. You can imagine if a trailer load of people were caught in the bush and they come down from the vehicle and you say, identify yourself. And all of them are showing you their IDs. This ID will carry their national numbers to show where they are coming from, who they are, and everything. A gadget in the hands of any of those security agencies can punch in those numbers, and it will just show you who he really is, what he does, where he was, how many access control points he has thumbprinted, he has done biometrics in the bank, he has withdrawn money, calls he has made, everything we just drop on the device. So we can get it right if we impute technology into our system. We can get it right if we stay away from corruption. Stop selling ourselves for petty things. Stop selling our national ethics for petty things. We can get it right. We can get it right if the governors do understand that the national policy of people can move anywhere they are does not mean as a governor you cannot ask. Accepted, Nigerians can move anywhere they want to go to. But can you tell me if you are a Nigerian? So everyone coming will maybe have a national ID, we have an international passport or whatever before they enter your state. So we can get it right if the media is giving the liberty it should have. You saw all the restrictions for the media to move around. The media should be given the liberty, and the media personnel should be paid well. If you put their motivation on a proper scale, it will be hard to convince a media person to churn out fake news, to doctor reports, to indict XYZ and frustrate investigations. We can get it right if we look at our medical system. The medical system we have in Nigeria has the most important content that is required, which is the resource persons. All our doctors, our nurses that are scaled outside of this country are making waves wherever they are in science and technology, medicine. So we can get it right if we put ourselves together, ask ourselves what is needed to have a high-profile, blue-chip medical system. And once we can put that in place, then we are on the right track. A lot of things that we need to do, but we can get it right, especially when we have prayed. Thank you.
You can always join our conversation by logging on to our website on www.loverplus.tv. You can also download our app, Lover Plus, on any of the mobile app stores. And of course, we have numbers showing on your screen. You can also use our hashtag #YouGov, #LoverPlus. We want to hear from you. You want you to join in conversations that affect the nation, that affect nation building, affect citizens. And, you know, recently we talked about the infectious diseases bill and why the public need to be involved. And of course, that's discussion has yielded some results, and of course our prayers have been answered, and there'll be a public hearing soon. So we need you to get involved in governance and politics. It's Olomu-Agbodo. God bless Nigeria.
Every single life matters.
The primary responsibility of government, first of all, which is security.
We bank mostly on intervention rather than prevention.
Democracy is a government where power resides with the people.